Hey Footballs, welcome back to another Pawn Massive video, and today we are going to get some justice for New Year's Dawn, can we? Folks, can we get some justice for hashtag justice for New Year's Dawn over here? So, New Year's Dawn, the newest New Year's unit, right? Well, one of two, I guess, because they drop at the same time. Which, by the way, New Year's seasonals, they all drop on the same day. Usually, you know, units drop like a day or two in between them, but like the New Year's ones, they always drop at the exact same day, because it wouldn't be the New Year's if they dropped like a day earlier or later. So it makes sense for them to all drop on the same day. But New Year's Dawn, right? This unit, you know, started off our year with a bit of a, you know, controversy, which is fun. You know, I love controversies. So, well, not really, but it depends on controversy. But yeah, so the big revelation, right, that her revelation dance revealed to us was that, if you guys do remember in like yesterday's like showcase video, right, when we were using New Year's Dawn, when we used revelation dance, although, you know, technically any move of these like moves trigger it, but, well, not the trigger move, but any of the other moves trigger it too, but it was most obvious when we used revelation dance is, again, when we use revelation dance, right, her extra special ghost damage also triggers as well, right? That's just how it works. Again, it works the same as the Dark Riot extra damage thing, whatever. So it's just an extra instance of a hit against the opponent. And we were surprised to see that it low-key did some pretty good damage. In fact, in some instances, did as much damage as Revelation Dance did. Now, why is that, folks? Why is that? Well, because apparently the BP for the extra special ghost damage is actually pretty good, right? If you do look in the calculator, they actually could show the BP over here, right? Revelation Dance power is 110. The extra special ghost damage base power also is 110. So basically, the revelation here in Revelation Dance is that it's a 110 base BP move, basically. And that in most case scenarios, well, maybe not most, but in a lot of case scenarios, this extra special ghost damage that is just an add-on, bit of an afterthought, you'd think, right? Comparison to the other unit that does that. Actually, it basically doubles your Revelation Dance damage. So instead of doing, well, Revelation Dance plus a bit extra, it's basically like 2 Revelation Dances in one, which is a pretty big game changer. It's a pretty big game changer. It's not like the strongest ghost type, you know, DPS move, right? But it's, if you count that, right, double, because here's the thing about this. This is also affected by multipliers as well, right? This gets affected by multipliers. Like, for example, if we pull up, all right, let's do +3 crit, and then we'll give it, where's the, there it is. And then we give it, oh, no, not this one, it's the other one. Oh, down here, yeah, whoops. And then we give it crit strike 2. Alright, we give it crit strike 2 and give it a multiplier and calculate that. Same result. It does get affected by multipliers, right? Not all of them. We'll get to that in a bit, but it gets affected by your crit strike 2s, your power posture, right? In the grid as well, if you could pick that up. It gets affected by Ghost Zone. Gets affected by, you know, Ghost rebuff if the opponent has any. Gets affected by if the opponent has any, you know, special defense debuffs, right? Does more damage there as well. Obviously, if it gets affected by, you know, crit and special attack buffs by herself. So, yeah. It's basically she does double the damage than she did over there. Which, again, if you actually look at the charts, again, it's not like the highest DPS for ghost types, but it's pretty freaking high up there, right? Right. Also, I think the grid runner used here specifically is, yeah, it doesn't pick up power posture, but, like, you know, for example, if you pick up power posture, it's probably gonna hit harder than Giovanni, right? And, well, obviously Annie Lily, without the special conditions, obviously, with the SE up next. Probably not as much as Singsu Karina still. And what's Renegade Cynthia doing here? Oh, Shadow at 2-turn. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, obviously more than, I mean, it would do more than Renegade Cynthia even without it, to be fair. But yeah, so she would be what, probably the second highest DPS ghost type unit after Singsu Karina, right? On neutral stages. So that's kind of good, right? That is kind of good. That is kind of good. And then if you do somehow want to compare it further with Singsu Karina, right? Singsu Karina is probably almost always going to be better in like shorter stages where you don't have to use that many Spectral Thieves to take out the opponent, so you don't have to worry about the MP there, because that is like one concern, right? But in stages where you have to worry about that a bit, on the like down turns that Singsu Karina has to use, like, you know, Shadow Punch or whatever, obviously she does get a pretty big damage drop in those cases. So then would in certain situations, can you say New Year's Dawn would be even more powerful of a DPS than Singsu Karina? Possible in certain scenarios, in specific, very specific, well, not, it doesn't have to be super specific, but in certain scenarios, New Year's Dawn could potentially be the, you know, strongest ghost type DPS in the game, on top of also having the best ghost nuke as well, right? Don't forget, like, she always had that. This isn't a new thing, right? She always had the best ghost nuke over here. And the reason why people didn't you know, kind of dismissed her DPS before was folks thought like this would just act exactly like the Darkrai one, right? If we do pull up the Darkrai one, and I mean, when you read the text, it would, you know, like, look, I'm not faulting people who read it as that. I mean, I read it as that too, right? I mean, and there's no reason to not read it as that, because our only ever precedent in the entire game of extra damage like that has been this Darkrai one, and the Darkrai one's not that good, right, if you compare. So, for example, let's quickly calc this. It's 24 BP at base, so 24 BP at base. If you assume that the Oricorio one is also at 24 BP, then obviously that's just, like, straight up bad, right? just terrible. But again, that's not the case, because they apparently have different BP numbers, which again, before the unit's released at all, there's like no way to tell. Which brings me to the main point over here. Why did they do this? Why did they do this, man? Why did they undersell their own unit? Like, why not just, you know, over here, like, they went through the trouble of putting type, ghost, category, special in here. Why not they also put in the BP as well? Why not? Just say it. BP, you know, 110 or whatever it is at 1 out of 5, and then obviously it changes with sync move level as well, right? Why not just put it down there? Why are they trying to undersell their unit? Are they trying to get people to not pull on, you know, their banners? Isn't that the opposite of what they're supposed to do? And the other thing, which is even funnier, right? Even funnier, in the news over here, right? When they're trying to like advertise it, and also I think in the trailer as well. Like, okay, this is them trying to, you know, do a sales pitch for their unit. Look at this, man. Down here. This was hilarious. Their Elegant Celebration Ghost Beam is a sync move that increases in power the more stats are raised, making them a sync pair that can deal major damage by making good use of their allies' support. The thing that they highlighted over here was a passive skill that doubles the stat ranks their stats are raised by, right? And another passive skill that deals additional damage to the target when Oricorio uses a move targeting that opponent. If you say, okay, come on. Okay, look, if you want to say, the thing about like all this information, right, that we got beforehand, technically is not official info yet, right? Because we got that from the data download, and it's not in the game yet, and obviously, you know, like I always say, until something is actually in the game and functioning, don't make any, you know, anything definitive, right? They could always change stuff. They could always do any last-minute fixes or whatever here and there. So there's always that caveat. So if you want to say, all right, it wouldn't really matter because we weren't supposed to see this. We weren't supposed to see her kit, right? We weren't supposed to see any of this stuff before the unit was officially available in the game on January the 1st, whatever time, or 31st, December 31st, if you're in my time zone, right? On reset. Okay, fair. All right, I could give that to you, because again, they can't assume everyone just looks at stuff like this. Obviously, again, people probably aren't supposed to look at this. So it wouldn't have mattered here either way. But if they're trying to advertise their stuff, right? Why not? For example, in here, right? Or in that trailer they put out. Why don't you just say something like, you know, instead just say something like, oh, Oricorio has a passive that triggers every time, or I should have wrote this out beforehand, but like, Oricorio has a passive that triggers every time it uses a move that targets an opponent, and it is especially powerful when you use it together with Revelation Dance to do double the damage of Revelation Dance, or something like that, right? And that way you don't have to, you know, it doesn't have to rely on people, again, knowing some earlier information that, again, people probably shouldn't have that info, right? On their end. But, you know, on their advertising, right? Before the unit's release, again, either this dev letter, to be fair, this dev letter did come out like at the same time the unit dropped, so maybe the trailer, right? The trailer came, I think, was it a day or 2 days before, right? So during that trailer, just put something in there like that, right? To get to double the damage, so people don't, you know, don't get misled, right? By their, to be fair, their own assumptions. And also, if you're trying to sell a unit, put one of the bigger selling points. Like, again, like they're trying to sell it over here. Oh, you could double the stat ranks, you know. So make good of use of their ally support, which is hilarious, because yeah, she doubles her stats, and she literally only buffs one stat by 1 rank. Here, raise their evasion by 1 stat rank. Like, that was the thing they're trying to sell, right? I think on the trailer they mentioned it was, oh, the double the debuffs. Okay, like, the debuffing part is not bad, but isn't that a bit burying the lead, right? And especially, you know, like, if we're looking at like more casual audiences, right, who maybe don't know that much of the ins and outs of the game, wouldn't the, you know, big letters do double the damage? Wouldn't that be a bit more attractive as well, right? Why are they I'm just wondering, man, why are they selling their own units short? Do they just don't want people to pull on them on purpose? What is going on? Do they hate money? Why? Because again, because we didn't know about that, everyone went into this assuming this unit is like kind of mediocre. Some people think she's terrible. I never thought she was terrible, to be fair. Like personally, I always thought she was okay, right? Because she did have, despite her wrongly perceived, by the way, bad DPS, she did have a lot of other things going for her that I thought was always, you know, made her at least a solid unit, right? Her debuffs are really, really nice, especially with this grab bag 9 and the fact that this could trigger this twice, right? And then every single time it's like -2, so you're getting -4 stats on every single hit. So, or even more, potentially -8 if you're using Feather Dance as well, right? So I never thought she was bad. And also, she was like the best Ghost Nuker as well, which has to count for something, right? But, you know, a lot of other people who might not know, they think she sucks, right? Which, again, I don't agree that she sucks, but I can maybe see where people are coming from, right? But, like, now, that there's this other thing, you know, with this passive, making her one of the, might not be the best. Well, it's definitely not the best in the optimal scenarios for every single one of these units, right? So if we do put all these ghost type damage dealers in their like most optimal scenarios, she's not the best, but she's at least like top 3, right? Top 3, top 4 ghost type damage dealers in the game, with the strongest ghost nuke, with all these really good debuffs, with like charging Affliction 4, which is free gauges. Well, it's not completely free, you have to spend 2 gauges, but you get like 2 gauges back. Well, 4 gauges back, but like if you -2, it's 2, you know, net 2, right? And you know, on top of all the other, you know, nice stuff, right? The double debuffs, or if you do give her like a lucky skill like a grand entry or speedy entry, she gets like +4 of that like immediately on entry because of her double buffing passive. Right, and she always had a fantastic sync nuke. Well, that turns her from a, again, in my opinion, solid unit before the revelation, right, into honestly a really nice unit. She's not flawless. Like, my other issues with this unit still persists, which is they're trying to make her like an evasion tank and all that stuff, and a nuker / damage dealer, but she has like no buffs and you need an extra support to buff her. Like, that issue is still true, right? And yeah, you do kind of need, you know, sometimes a relatively powerful team around her to take out, to show her full potential, right? But, you know, in her full potential, in the optimal scenarios, right, she is really nice. She is really powerful. Because you could trade that. You could trade that downside, right? Which again is still a real downside. It doesn't magically not exist anymore just because she has good damage now, right? But if you'd say, well, she does have this issue, but she's also one of the top, you know, ghost type damage dealers to make up for a downside, because look, almost every unit in the game has downsides, right? No, there's no unit that's like completely flawless. Okay, no. There's no units like even, you know, Sing Sing Lyra, right? I mean, her DPS not the best, right? Her personal self buffs could be maybe a bit of an issue, but like, yeah, right? There's no like flawless unit in the game, but instead of, you know, from a really good debuffer / good nuker / kind of mediocre at a lot of other things into she's good at, instead of being very good at 2 things, she's very good at 3 things now. Well, that's a pretty big that's a pretty big boost, right? So, anyways, let's get into some of the other caveats about her passive before I forget to mention them. So yeah, again, like I mentioned, her passive damage, all these multipliers and stuff apply. Ghost Zone, Ghost Rebuff, all that stuff apply as well. It's just like the one-time things, I think, don't, right? Like special move up next and super effective up next. So again, it's not perfect, but even without that, right? It's still for most of the time, because like it's very hard to get consistent. Like every single turn you get like super effective up next and like special move up next, whatever, right? So most of the time you will still have like double damage on your Revelation Dances. And also, like, outside of that, like, for example, if you're even like using it like you use Feather Dance, right? it's not like a turn completely wasted just buffing, debuffing stats. Not that debuffing stats in of itself is a waste of a turn, unless you're just a massive damage dealer, like for example, like the New Year's Lycia, right? It would be kind of a waste of a turn by using quick attack to debuff opponent's defense when you could be spamming like Giga Impact instead, right? But you know, in this case, maybe not a big of a deal, right? But then you use Feather Dance and boom, it's basically like using Feather Dance and Revelation Dance at the same time, right? So there's also that. So yeah, when you're using your Feather Dance or whatever, right, you're not even like missing out on well, you still miss out on like the extra hit, but like, you know, you still get a pretty solid hit in, right? You still get a base 110 BP. Well, it's 110 at, you know, 3 out of 5, but yeah, you still get like a base whatever, right, move hit in that gets affected by all these multipliers, that gets affected by this and that, right? Now, obviously Feather Dance can help increase the power posture multiplier if you did pick that up. So yeah, it's a pretty good unit, man. It's a pretty good unit. It's just that, like, why did DNA not tell us about this? Why? Again, there are 2 ways they could have gone about this. Either they added the BP and the passive, right, alongside the category and type thing, right? Or they, in a different way, mentioned it in their like advertising video or whatever, right? When I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Anyways, just a very, very, very odd decision there. Yeah, look, she may be good now, but still does not take away from the fact that this is an odd unit all around. The entire situation with this unit and all, still very odd. But yeah, she is definitely very, very, very nice, right? Between her and Sing Sukrina, if you are gonna ask me, I don't know. Like, people could say, oh, Karina has that thing that where she, you know, it's like the snatch thing, right? Where she could lower all the opponent's stats and all of that stuff, right? Which is cool. Which is true, that is cool. But like Oricorio is like legitimately like a fantastic debuffer, right? And if you're just going for debuff specifically, she might be better. She might be better, because like the thing with Karina is with Spectral Thief, you can't go into the negatives, right? And Oricorio obviously could easily go into negatives. And again, with Revelation Dance, that's -4 stats per hit. Unless you also have like Defense Crush or whatever, or Mind Games on Lucky Skill Iron, then that'll be even more, right? -6 potentially per hit. And then with, if you do like Feather Dance, and it's like -10 stats, right? Obviously it is random, so it's still RNG. This is still an RNG unit, right? But yeah, I'd say Oricorio in longer stages is the more consistent damage dealer, and Oricorio's the better nuker. Oricorio's the better debuffer. But that being said, Sing Sukrina still has a lot of really, really great things, right? That I'd probably take over Oricorio. First of all, her own self buffs that Oricorio does not have. I guess Oricorio also has like the tanking thing, which is better than Sing Sukrina, but yeah, she has the self buffs, but she also has like the team crit buffs too, with our hit all plus, I believe, right? And all that. So yeah, she also would require a less expensive team to run more effectively as well. Although to be fair, if you really wanted to get like the most out of Sing Sukrina, you probably also just run Renegade Cynthia and Alistair for Ghost Zone / Ghost Rebuff, just because that combo is so strong, man. But anyways, yeah, that being said, I'm not saying she's better than Sing Sukrina, which is, you know, otherwise would be the strongest ghost type damage dealer, but they're, you know, she's not like an entire cliff off, right? Where people thought, like, look, people weren't even thinking of comparing her to Sing Sukrina at all before, right? Like, that was not even in the question. But now, you can maybe take that comparison, make that comparison. I don't know who I'd take. I'm probably leaning towards I'd take Karina, right? But I don't know. Oricorio has some really good stuff as well. If you want to make an argument in favor of Oricorio, but anyways, yeah, that's been this one, I guess. Hope y'all enjoyed, guys. Think in the comments down below. Like, enjoy the videos. We're gonna have some more Pokemon Masters content. So yeah, Oricorio got shafted. Not in terms of her kit being anything atrocious, although again she buffs her stat by 2 by double, and she only buffs 1 stat in her entire kit by only 1. Is still like very cringe, but is she much better? She is much better. She is great, right? Again, it's just that, like, yeah, it does so much more damage than the Darkrai thing, right? Oh my god. I can't believe them. Why would they sell their unit short like this? Alright, have fun, folks. See you guys in the next one.